I pray to the Almighty to bestow upon me His truth, His wisdom, that I may be worthy of conveying His message and so sanctify His name and bring peace to the world. Amen. My name is Rabbi Israel Dovid Weiss, and basically I'm a spokesperson amongst many other spokespeople to represent the true, original, and exact position of the Jewish religion that, as God gave us from Mount Sinai 3,000 years ago till today, in our position in regard to this ideology that has relatively new movement that started around 140 years ago called Zionism, and how Judaism looks upon this ideology of Zionism. Simply, with God's help, as I said, we have a covenant that we made 3,000 years ago to accept all the laws of the Torah, and to not to kill, not to steal, to do kindness, and keep the Sabbath, keep kosher, all the laws of the Torah as is required by a Jew. This is universal. It doesn't matter if you're living in France or in Al-Quds in Jerusalem or US. It doesn't make a difference. This is what's accepted. This is what we have to do. One of the laws and a few of the issues is that God commanded us to go into the Holy Land and build a temple, which was done by King Solomon. When the Jewish people went into the Holy Land, after a while they built a temple to serve God. But King Solomon was a prophet, and he wrote the book of prophecy called Shir HaShirim, Song of Songs, where he writes very clearly, there will come a time that, being that we are not on this very exceptionally high level of holiness that's required to live in the Holy Land, because we call it the Holy Land. So if we're not on that level, then we will be driven from the land, we will be rejected. And that's what all the prophets said, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Jeremiah, all the prophets warned the Jews that they're not on that special high level that's required to live as a nation in the Holy Land. We will be driven from the land. And so King Solomon warns, although he built the temple, he said he wrote a prophecy that he warns there will come a time when, if we will be driven from the land, then we are not to attempt to re-establish any Jewish sovereignty. He said there's 3 oaths of God. We are not to return en masse in large numbers to the Holy Land. If God will disperse us amongst the nations, that we will be spread out, but it was by the Romans or the Greeks that the Jews were sent out and the temple was destroyed. Afterwards, we are forbidden to try to return to the Holy Land as a nation. And so we shouldn't return in large numbers en masse. Secondly, we should not rebel against any nation. We have to be loyal citizens in every country we're residing and pray for its well-being and for its leadership. So if you're living in France or the United States or Turkey or Iran, or it doesn't really matter. A Jew has to be a loyal citizen. And we are not to rebel against the nation. So when we're living under the Ottoman Empire, or living when the Jews were living in Palestine for hundreds of years, we should not rebel against the authority there. This was the basics of Jewish law. It's called the Oaths of Exile, 3 Oaths of Exile that King Solomon spoke about in his books. This was accepted. It has to be accepted because it's Jewish teaching. And everybody who's true to the religion, who's Jewish, who's an observant Jew, upholds these laws. And we never, for 2,000 years, because again, that's when the destruction of the temple took place. So since then, for 2,000 years, we never, as a nation, attempted to recreate the Jewish sovereignty, to reestablish a Jewish nationhood, because it's forbidden. It's expressly forbidden. We are to be loyal citizens in every country where we're residing.